Oh god, this is... Hello and welcome to News X Auto. My name is Shiraz and that's the Jeep Meridian I have for you today. And before I start driving and start talking about, you know, how the car drives and everything, let me quickly show you the second row. Alright, see, this is a bit wider than the Compass, so there is certainly more you know, shoulder space. Alright, and if you'll notice, the seat base, the seat squab is you know, really big enough that guarantees brilliant under thigh support. Okay, so, and that seat, the front passenger seat, has been pushed at its rearmost setting. Okay, it's just pushed further at its furthest you know, rearmost setting. So, and you still have, okay, I would say that see, normally most people, let me sit inside, see, no one would actually push the seat fully back, okay, and sit. Okay, even a 6-footer, he would push the seat back, and then he would realize that he has loads of space. He would then bring the seat a bit closer, okay, and then you would have enough leg room, knee room. See, right now, of course, I am a short person. There is, you know, there is acres of space for me. But even, let me show it to you. See, I have good knee room, so even a taller person would have this much. All right, and yeah, with the seat slightly towards, you know, the front, again, even a 6-footer would not sit like this, okay, with the seat fully back. The seat would be somewhat here, and then I would say, you know, even a 5'9", 5'10" person would have ample knee room and leg room. However, a 6-footer would find the headroom to be a bit of a challenge, I would say, unless and until, you know, he sits like this, okay, slightly ahead. But then it would not be a deal breaker. I'm sure you know, there would be rarely a family that has all 6-footers, but even if they do, I think it would not be a deal breaker for them. Again, shoulder room, leg room, knee room is not an issue. Headroom could be for the tallest of passengers. Do take, you know, a short test drive and see for yourself. But then I don't think so it would be a, you know, big issue. The rear, the third row is absolutely useless. I would not recommend, you know, that you even make your children sit there on long drives. Of course, in short city drives they can sit, but then longer drives I would not recommend, you know, making anyone sit in the third row. The front seats are brilliantly comfortable. Again, at the cost of repetition, even the second row seats are very comfortable. And it's just that, yeah, do check the headroom for you if at all you are above 6 feet tall. Now, before I start driving, let me quickly tell you a couple of things. First of all, have you ever seen the door lock and unlock button on the passenger side? I don't think so. Okay, so that's a very nice touch, equality. And all right, now the moment you step inside, okay, this suede material, all right, and especially the color, it you know, has that luxury car, luxury vehicle ambience to it. All right, and of course this soft touch leather. So yes, you do feel that, you know what, okay, I have, this is money well spent. Now there are physical, proper buttons, dials, switches for everything. I just wish, although, again, I'm nitpicking. So the ventilated seat, this is how, this is where it is, the control for it, okay. And if you say, for example, if you're here, you want to, switch the camera on, one click, second click, and I just wish that, there were two buttons for the camera, but again, okay, it's not buried deep into the touch screen. So that's 1, 2, and of course I've already shown you the ventilated seats. Speaking of which, these are the quietest ventilated seats that I've tested yet, okay. Effective but not loud. Now the air conditioning, see, right now, I'm sure if you are living in Delhi, and even if you're not, you might be aware that we are experiencing the hottest summers yet. It's 45 degrees right now outside, and it feels like, what, 50 degrees. Before switching the camera on, I was running the AC on full blast. I wish the AC was stronger, okay, because see, it's not that it's not effective. You can run it on full blast and you will be absolutely okay, but I just wish that the AC was strong enough to cool like it is cooling, at full blast. It should have cooled, similarly at like say 5 or 4. But then again, if you want it, you can do this, and yeah, you'll be able to keep your cool as well, okay. Yeah, now let's drive and talk about the car. Okay, so first things first, see, the visibility all around is fantastic, okay. And again, you have the surround camera, which makes life very easy. It's brilliant. Now a couple of things that I want to clear. Almost every reviewer, okay, has mentioned that or approached this vehicle as, they say in their reviews, is this a Fortuner rival? Yes, it is. No, that's a body on frame vehicle, okay. This is a unibody construction. They are not direct rivals. Are they alternatives? Yes, but so is a sedan, right? I mean, come on, you talk about okay, you know what, I have this much money, what are my options? All right, so you have a sedan, you have a truck, ladder frame construction, and then you have crossovers, you have unibody SUVs, okay. And there is an overlap amongst these segments. When I say these segments, overlap, I mean crossovers and unibody SUVs, all right, not ladder frame vehicles. So see, this vehicle is for a person who wants a comfortable luxury SUV for his family, and he wants to drive it himself, okay, or herself. So that person would want brilliant on-road manners, and if you are buying the 4x4 version, okay, which is this one, you would want some amount of off-road ability as well. Now, speaking of which, I'll make a separate video on that, okay. Let me briefly tell it to you that this is essentially an all-wheel drive vehicle, all right. However, this all-wheel drive system is a lot better than other all-wheel drive systems. For example, the Suzuki all-wheel drive systems, okay, they are primarily front-wheel driven, and they take some amount, there is a lag in shifting the power to the rear wheels. You would not feel it in that, okay, but while off-roading it becomes apparent. Nothing of that sort in this one. This feels and behaves like a permanent four-wheel drive vehicle, all right. Now I'll make a separate video on that if you have any confusion, but in layman terms, especially from 0 to about like 40-50 kilometers per hour, all four wheels are turning all the time. Okay, it's only when you go above 50 and the system recognizes that you don't need traction on all four wheels, then it moves to being a front wheel drive vehicle. Okay, that essentially means that if you want to take it off road, even if you do not choose any of the modes, speaking of which, let me tell it to you right now, unless and until you are really in snow. In fact, I would recommend, like I said in the Jeep Cherokee off-road review, do not use the snow mode. It's absolutely useless. Use sand and mud, okay, whenever you're off-road. Okay, and of course, in more challenging situations, you can use sand, mud plus four-wheel drive low, and the moment you choose it, four-wheel drive log is also activated. Okay, so you can take it in slush, mud, okay, over the rocks. The only thing that I would refrain from doing is attempting hardcore inclines, and it's not because it cannot climb. Okay, it's just that because of the underwhelming approach angle, the departure angle is comparatively better. Okay, the first thing, in fact the only thing that would touch, okay, let me just stop the vehicle and just or perhaps I'll put a picture over here as well. Okay, so for example, this is the incline, this is your vehicle, the bumper would touch. Okay, if this is like this, then you will be able to climb. So just keep in mind that whenever you're approaching an obstacle, just keep in mind that your bumper should be able to clear it. If it cannot, back off. Yeah, so I was saying that the ideal customer, the ideal owner would be someone who wants a comfortable luxury SUV for his family, and with a reasonable amount of off-road ability, and it is that vehicle. All right, its strong points are, this is a beautiful cruiser. It does 100 kilometers per hour, okay, in top gear, of course, at what, a shade above 1500 rpm. It could be like 1510, 1520 rpm, but you can say that yes, you would not be wrong in saying that it does 100 kilometers per hour and at 1500 rpm. However, it goes into top gear at above 94-95 kilometers per hour, that too when you have a very light foot on the throttle. And if you want to do it yourself, in manual mode, 99 kilometers per hour would be the minimum speed above which you can slot it into 9 gear. All right, so essentially while cruising, okay, keep the cruise control at 100 kilometers per hour and you will get the best fuel efficiency. Anything below that and you would not get the best fuel efficiency. You get the best fuel efficiency in top gear. You can once you have set the cruise to 900, you can come down to 95, and that would be it. It would still not downshift to 8th gear. Again, just keep it at 100 and you will be sorted. Then it will give you a fuel efficiency of somewhere around 15 and even 16 kilometers, okay, to a liter, provided you have an empty expressway, like a Yamuna expressway or Lucknow expressway, and you are not doing 130, 140. You're strictly at 100 for as much as possible, and it will give you a phenomenal fuel efficiency for a vehicle of this size. In city, because okay, see right now, okay, so in city you will be in 4th, 5th and 6th gears. You would really go into 7th gear, forget about 8 and 9. So the fuel efficiency takes a hit, and it will you'll get a single digit like 7.5, 8, 9, 9.5. Very rarely you will see a 10. So 8, 9 is more like it. Okay, performance, I've heard people saying that okay, there are people who say that it has terrific performance. Some people say the gearbox is bad, okay, and it does not have that kick. Okay, none of those extremes is true. Okay, it has reasonable performance. Okay, essentially you would not be getting frustrated at any point in time. Okay. That is why you need an all-wheel drive vehicle. Okay. See, you would not drive the car like this, but on a Sunday, okay, on a road, you can do this. All right. Had this been a front-wheel drive vehicle, okay, it would have gotten really out of shape. Had this been a rear-wheel drive vehicle, okay, even then the chances of getting it out of shape and the chances of you catching the chances of it getting out of shape for more, you catching the drift, you're catching the slide and making it look like a controlled drift would have been less. All right. And this in an all-wheel drive vehicle like this one, you can do this. I'm so loving this. Once more. Oh God, this is... Who says this is not a fun vehicle? This is a hoot. So, as you just saw, the handling is terrific. Okay. Alright, Shiraz, get back to the review. Alright, so you just saw that the handling is terrific. Alright, it is brilliant. In fact, I would say that the ride quality, the ride and handling balance is the absolute best. Okay, I would say in any vehicle under 60 lakh rupees. Okay, nothing comes close. The Skoda Kodiaq, the VW Kodiaq, what is it called, the Tiguan, whatever its name is, they don't come close in achieving this. Essentially, they don't come close to this vehicle's ride and handling balance. It's absolutely brilliant. So this handles well. The VW and the Skoda, okay, they handle well as well, but this vehicle's ride quality is exceptional. All right, I have said this earlier as well in the Compass. Every time I've reviewed the Compass, the ride quality is amazing. In fact, only its cousin, the C5 Aircross, that vehicle's low speed ride quality is better. High speed ride quality, high speed chassis behavior, all right, the side to side movement is better in the Compass, is better in the Meridian as compared to the C5. I would say that yes, it's even better than the Skodas and the VWs. Again, talking about the vehicles, the Kodiaq, and again, at the cost of repetition, the Tiguan or Tiguan, whatever that vehicle is. Okay, this is the vehicle to buy if you want the best handling vehicle without compromising the comfort of your family members. Okay, again, let me conclude the performance part as well. See, this is not a rocket, all right? However, this is not a slouch as well. So while overtaking, okay, I have to take the Greater Noida Expressway every time I step out, okay? So I never felt flustered, or I never felt the need that, okay, you know what, it should have had more power. Of course, every enthusiast would want a 500 bhp okay, a vehicle. Every enthusiast would want even more power, but then the point is, this vehicle's power and torque, they suffice, okay, for they would take care of all your needs. I already told you that this is a fantastic cruiser, and while cruising, see, right now I'm doing what, 60, and if I storm down, that's 80, that's 100, okay. And like I said, I did not need to plan my overtaking on the expressway. I wanted to overtake, and I did not even need to put it in manual. I just stormed the throttle pedal and I could overtake the slower moving traffic. And by slower, I mean, like, we were still doing like 70, 80. So what's the crux? See, it's a fantastic vehicle, all right? It's a brilliant vehicle. This can be your only vehicle, okay? Very comfortable, amazing ride quality, good off-road ability, amazing handling. Yes, brilliant handling. So brilliant ride quality, brilliant handling, okay, sufficient levels of performance. And yeah, that was the long and short of it, guys. Please do let me know if you have any questions that haven't been answered in this review, and I'll be answering them in the comment section. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Do hit that like button, and do leave a comment even if you do not have a question, all right? And before I sign off, some more enthusiastic cornering. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon in the next one. Bye bye.